move to the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Looked like they were driving for at least a game-tying field goal when Dak Prescott hit Michael Gallup on a 47-yard pass with over 30 seconds left in the game.
Give me that.
But Gallup was called for offensive pass interference.
Yes, sir.
And the Rams held on to win. Jalen Ramsey said the push-off was clear as day. But Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy said he was disappointed in the call being made that late in the game. Joined now by Hall of Famer, NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez. But Marcellus,
yes,
you up first. You gonna blame the refs for the Cowboys' loss?
I'm not blaming the refs. I thought the refs got it right. That was clear as day, as Jalen Ramsey said, a pass interference. More than that, it was egregious because it's not just so much the timing of it. I hate when coaches say, hey, why'd you make the right call at the wrong time? Like, shut up, coach. That ain't how a game goes. It's not so much that what his arm being extended was so egregious. It's the outcome of him extending that arm that is the most egregious of all this. He got the separation that he needed in a game of inches. So, yeah, it just takes you back to when you went to chemistry class. I didn't get a good grade in chemistry. I do remember looking at two mundane elements and saying, oh, what's wrong with these two chemicals? When you put them together, kaboom! And that's what happened. This may look simple to you. It's late in the game, and it's not much of a stretch and much of an outreach arm. But what's the result? What's the outcome? 47-yard pass? Nah, that's PI. I'm with you, Jalen Ramsey. Refs didn't cost y'all.
Man, the refs ain't cost them the game. And let me tell Cowboys fans who did. Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. The two players, the two people, not players, one being the player, the other being the coach, that have the most to prove. Mike McCarthy, you come to the Cowboys with the Super Bowl on your resume, which means the Cowboys have Super Bowl expectations and coaching out of you. And Dak Prescott, you want to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. So you already know the expectations you have. Marcellus, when the Cowboys boarded the plane last night, they boarded with, their players or practice squad players, maybe the media, the head coach. You want to know what else they boarded that plane with? Ooh. A timeout in their pocket. How do you go home, Cowboys, with a timeout when you have to win the game or at least drive down the field to get a game-tying field goal, and you don't even use the timeout? What that shows me is Mike McCarthy, clock management. Come on now. Okay, now, Dak Prescott, let's talk about you.
Don't do this.
Dak, you got everything on the line right now. You're playing under $31+ million. And now you're also trying to play for roughly $40 million annually. And you go 25 of 39 with one touchdown? You have a pedestrian stat line like that? And here's what I have to say about this, Marcellus, is great quarterbacks, they played great yesterday. Russell Wilson, great. Lamar Jackson, great. Aaron Rodgers, great. Patrick Mahomes earlier on in the week, great. But Dak Prescott, if you want to be said great quarterback, it's time for you to play great. So don't blame the refs, Cowboys fans. That's the lazy thing to do. Look at your quarterback and look at your head coach. Because if anybody deserves blame, it's them two individuals, specifically the one that took a timeout home with him like he can use it as leftovers.
Well, I love your points there. I think Jalen Ramsey for sure played the old veteran trick of the Bloody Divots flail back and sold it, and the ref had to make a call. I think he kind of gave him no choice. And I agree with you. Mike McCarthy, let's go back in the game, too. Remember they were down there and they went for it on fourth down? Just kick the field goal. You tied the game up, and then, I think that did it right there. I don't know why. It's not like it was inches, too. It was, hey, it's 4th and 3. Kick the field goal, and then we get tied the game up, and then we can see what happens after that. But I think the creativity there. I think Kellen Moore, remember he was offensive coordinator last year. Mike McCarthy kept him offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more creativity. You got a lot of talent on that team with CeeDee Lamb, with Zeke, with Amari Cooper, with Blake Jarwin. They got guys. I think the offense could be a little bit better. Now, granted, I'm taking nothing away from that defense. Aaron Donald is a beast. He is somebody that I don't think I'd ever want to go up against. Thank God I played tight end and one of those guys in the middle because he is all world. But so I give them a little bit of credit, but I still think with all the talent that the Cowboys have, I was expecting a little bit more out of Dak Prescott and that offense, put up a little bit more points, which they can. They showed they could do it in flashes, but the creativity's got to be a little bit better out of Kellen Moore for me.
Interesting. I just got to push back on, I guess, both of you guys, because Acho started this conversation. You want to be a great quarterback, and all the great quarterbacks
I had more bass in my
played
voice.
well
I had more bass in my voice. I had a little bit more. Like, you want to be a great quarterback.
Okay, I'm sorry, my brother. You want to be a great quarterback, Dak? Just outplay some of these other deemed great quarterbacks, which he did yesterday. How did Deshaun Watson do this week? Oh, Dak had a better quarterback rate. What about the money guys in Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, who he played against? Oh, Dak actually played better than both of those guys, even though he didn't get the win. So miss me with this whole, if you don't play well week one, you're not great, because we've seen some other guys do that as well.
I will not miss you with it, sir.
Here's the thing about it. The Rams should have been won this game, and the game shouldn't even been that close. Let's talk about their red zone woes and their 3 field goals and the missed field goal. We saw that the Rams kept the Dallas Cowboys in this game for the reasons you guys already stated. But let's not also conflate what happened at the end of this game as the bailout for the Cowboys. This is a situation where you can't push off in that situation. And if you thought you could have made that reception, Acho, it's simple as just make the reception. But in that situation, I don't want to exaggerate what happened in that moment. To me, that was a clear PI that allowed him to get the necessary separation to make that completion. Simple as that. Cowboys' woes, you're right, Acho, are greater than what we saw in that one play. And the game really shouldn't have been that close if the Rams were executing in the red zone.
It shouldn't have. One thing, I'm a push back on what Tony said, because I'm not necessarily mad at the Cowboys going for it on 4th down. Now, in hindsight 2020, they didn't get it. So can you trip on that? Absolutely. But when I think about it, they went for it on 4th down, roughly 12 minutes left in the game. So McCarthy's thinking to himself, okay, we're going to have 1, probably 2, maybe even 3 possessions left. But the problem, if you go for it on 4th down, Cowboys, and you don't get it, well, now you need your defense to bail you out. There's 12 minutes left in the 4th quarter. You got time. But then the Rams go on a 5-minute, 18-second drive. So now Cowboys, y'all don't get the ball back till 6 minutes left. You still got time. But then you go 3 and out. Okay, so now you get the ball back with 2 minutes left. In theory, you still got time if you manage your time wisely, which you don't. But my final point, Marcellus, because when you talk about the Cowboys, you have to talk grandiose. Because it's a grandiose franchise. It's a larger-than-life franchise. My problem with the Cowboys, I think about this, and I'm going to talk in business terms because Jerry Jones, their owner, is a businessman. The law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns, it's used to refer to a point in which the level of profits or benefits gained is less than the amount of energy invested. Okay, why am I bringing that up?
Please tell us.
Because you have Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup. You got CeeDee Lamb. Sooner or later, there's a law of diminishing returns. You keep investing in all these weapons, but Dak, Goff had more yards than you offensively passing. You keep investing in all these weapons, but the Cowboys had less rushing yards than the Rams. They had less rushing yards, less passing yards, less total yards, less yards per play. And nobody in their right mind would say that Goff is supposed to be a better passer than Dak right now. And nobody in their right mind would say that the Rams have a better rushing game. So that doesn't make sense to me, Marcellus. And while, yes, I would say that Goff is a better passer, the world around us says that Dak is supposed to be top 10 and the highest paid quarterback. At least that's what you be trying to tell me every day.
Put some respect on the Hall of Famer. Talk to him, Tony.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I could go back to saying Kellen Moore call some better plays because you've got the talent. But then also, there is a reason why they have not given Dak the money. Why have they decided not to pay him? I don't understand it. I mean, if you believe in this guy, and I think he's a good quarterback, I think he's a
good, not great, though, right? I'm just making sure I heard you right. You said you think he's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, right?
Dak,
don't laugh it off.
Dak is a good quarterback, but if the Jones brothers, Jones and Jones, dad and son, for whatever reason, they feel like they don't have to pay him. They don't want to pay him. They haven't done it yet, and maybe that's because of the way he's been playing. They see something that we haven't seen. But the points, you're right. They should be putting up more points. They should be putting up more yards rushing. For whatever reason, they weren't able to get it done, and we'll see how they bounce back next week.
All I'm saying is please don't put Dak's entire career and body of work in a vacuum for one game. The first game with a new head coach and the head coach and offensive coordinator trying to get the continuity.
May I interject?
I just told you he had a better week than Deshaun Watson.
Tony, let me tell you what
Jared
Marcellus
Goff
does.
And Carson Wentz, but y'all all on Dak. Go ahead.
Let me tell you what Marcellus does.
That's all this is.
Because Marcellus's Clippers nonsense mentality, it's now seeped into football as well. Oh, the Cowboys, they're not a regular season team. That's what Marcellus
I didn't say that. I said they're not a week one team this year.
When does it matter? Marcellus, you only get 16 games in ball, so I'm no mathematician, but that's roughly 8% of the season week one. That's just off top of the dome. So you only get, when does it matter? Because now the Cowboys, they got a first-round pick in CeeDee Lamb. You got a Super Bowl head coach. When can we judge Dak? Because let you tell it, we can never assess
You
Dak.
just went from judging Tom Brady in a 20-year career in a week one performance, and now that mentality has seeped into Dak now in his 5th year. Forget the first 4 years and how he stabilized the ship. We're going to just talk about week one. But then you got to, if we're going to just do week one performances, all I say, Hall of Famer, is judge him by his competition. And it's 3 guys who got paid way more than Dak Prescott, supposed to be saviors and franchise quarterbacks, Acho, that didn't look as well as Dak since you wanted to